Welcome back to the Crystal Game Engine series. It's been quite a while since the last episode, but it's for a good reason. If you didn't see my stream video from the other day, go watch that because it's pretty cool. I made a game in an hour, or really an hour and a half with Crystal, and it was pretty fun, even if the game really wasn't that good. Anyways, so Crystal is really starting to look like a game engine. I've updated the UI to be similar to Unity's. I've also added an ECS or entity component system and some components as well as perspective camera. So I'm gonna stop talking and just show you what I'm talking about. So as you can, well, I just closed it out like an idiot. But if you look here, it looks much different than it did in last episode. So there's a ton of stuff here. There's a hierarchy. There's a viewport, pretty cool. And then there's an inspector, and then most of them don't do anything, but eventually they will. So I can open performance like this. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I've fixed an aspect ratio thing where basically if you do like this, it would not correctly resize the aspect ratio. So you can see the stats through here. But if you look on these are where the cool things are. So here's the components. So you can see this one has a transform and a camera, as well as a tag. And then these ones have sprite renderers and transforms. So I can move this away and color it something different like that. And then you can also rename them. Like I can just do square 1 and then square 2 or something like that. I don't know. You can change the color of this one like that, and change the transform. So I've also added a perspective camera, like as I said earlier. So if you, as you know, with the orthographic camera, there's no depth. But if you go here, so this is the primary camera, it's an orthographic one. Let's go over here though and change this one to perspective. And then what I can do is uncheck this one as primary, and then check this one as primary. And it's actually on the same position as the square, so you're not going to see anything. There we go. So it doesn't really seem like anything crazy until you realize there's depth. So it's actually 3D, just with 2D quads. So there is depth. You can move things forward and back on the Z position, or Z axis, like this, and then they get bigger and smaller depending on how close they are. And I've also got this cool particle thing where you can basically move around some particles. It's pretty awesome. So yeah, that's most of the stuff that I've added. A lot of the things that I did though were like core engine things. So yeah, that's pretty much what I've added. So thank you for watching. But also before we go, thank you so much for 50 subs. It was a milestone for me, and now I'm aiming for 100. If you want to help me support me make this game engine and these videos, please like the video and subscribe. So also some other things that I forgot to talk about, so a little bit more in depth here, but basically I have added Framebuffers to the project, which is how I can have this viewport thing. It basically gets all the data from the renderer and then shoves it into an image, and then GUI loads that image into its window. So that's how you can have that. And then also, I'm not currently using this, that's why I didn't mention it earlier, but basically you can have like sprite atlases or like texture maps, I guess, where you can basically have like a PNG of like 5 different textures, and then you can specify a position, how big they are, and basically load textures from the atlas at a certain position. So like, let me find one real quick. I have one to show. So like this is just an example. But like you could basically load in these individual tiles, so it's really useful for making tile-based games. So yeah, that's one of the other things that I added. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh yeah, and native scripting. So you can basically have a script component, and then you can have that's how the camera controller works. You could have this in external file too, by the way. But basically you can write C++ scripts for this. So it's sort of like Unity. You have like, instead of it being like I think Unity's mono behavior, this is a scriptable entity. It didn't really have a good name for it. Probably will change it later, but it has the on create, on destroy, and on update currently. So I could add more, but yeah, it's kind of a simple scripting setup, I guess. So yeah, there's some extra features that I've added.